So I'm sure you've heard of Sherlock Holmes. Well, today we're going to talk about Warlock Holmes, this series of books. I believe there are 5 of them. I've read the first 3, and today we're going to talk about those and just what it's about and what it is. I first discovered this series. My partner and I used to stream on Twitch, and one of our streams, someone was in there, and I was talking about how much I like to read and I like books. The lady, her husband, was the author of the Warlock Holmes series, and they sent me the first book in the series. I read it, I thought it was funny, hadn't read it in several years. Occult Detective October happens, and so I decided I'm going to reread the series and get some of the other books. So I picked up the next 2 books of the series. I like them so much, I ordered the next 2, so those should be here sooner or later. So the name Warlock Holmes alone probably evokes the suspicion that maybe it's about someone who has magical abilities or is a warlock and such. And so it's very much like Sherlock Holmes, but it's not. Warlock Holmes, he has the might of 1,000 demons. He has some weird dude, Moriarty, who's stuck inside of him. He's not the greatest detective. In the first book, he meets Dr. John Watson, and Watson has fallen on some hard times and is pretty broke, and he doesn't know what he's gonna do, and he's out and he's having lunch with, maybe it was like an associate professor or whatever, I'm not quite sure. And the professor, after, they're about to wrap everything up for lunch, and Watson's like, what am I gonna do? He's worried about like paying rent and having a place to live and all this stuff. And the guy he's having lunch with is like, somehow it comes up that Watson's not doing so good, and the guy he's having lunch with is like, I might have a solution to your problem. His problem is him living with Warlock Holmes, who has apparently gone through many roommates, and no one wants to stay there because mysterious and weird and disturbing things happen when one is around Warlock Holmes. It's funny and quirky and weird and wacky and downright ridiculous. It's just a great fun time. It's paranormal. It's out of left freaking field. Each book they probably have maybe 5 kind of mystery caper things that they go and they solve. So the first book, you get how Watson and Warlock start working together, and how Watson isn't quite as weirded out by Holmes's eccentricities, one might say, and eventually comes to learn a bit more about what exactly Warlock Holmes is. And it's freaking great. There's the whole thing with, Moriarty, who's in Holmes's head, used to be this big sorcerer and had all these people and underlings underneath him and was kind of a big deal, a big bad evil dude. And somehow Holmes defeated him, and it's not really gone into too much in the first book. You don't really get a whole lot of that. And so he has every once in a while he'll go like this, and all of a sudden some prophetic word will spit out of his mouth that's Moriarty speaking and coming through him. And so they have all these ridiculous caper adventures, and it's super fun. And so as you get into the second book, you learn more about the origin story of Warlock Holmes, where he came from, how he came about to have all these demons inside of him and stuff with Moriarty, and you get a little bit more about Moriarty and what Moriarty was into. I think there's 5 different stories in this one as well, and they're all fun and ridiculous and funny. The humor's just great. And then you have the third book, and the third book you get into some more of the outlier characters, some of the people that are from Moriarty's gang. There's this mysterious woman that we ran into in book 2. Watson's funny because every time he meets a woman, he's insert foot in mouth, and he's super awkward around them, and sometimes, he gets distracted by their beauty. But this one woman, she keeps showing up during some of these cases that they're solving, and they're all, magical and weird, and there's monsters and weird creatures, and there's women who like to just chuck goats. Some of the goats actually seem to like it. I don't know. That's just, There's electricity demons, all kinds of just wacky stuff. If you're looking for a series of a weird Sherlock Holmes that's paranormal, Warlock Holmes, he is always jumping to the conclusion of, oh, it couldn't be a normal mystery. It's gotta be demon soul sucker or chupacabra. And so Watson will be like, can we try to maybe it could be normal, let's use deduction. Watson's all using his deduction skills, and Holmes is always claiming it's probably something fantastical. And sometimes Watson's right and sometimes Holmes is right. And just the banter between them, the chemistry between them is great. The characters are fun. If you're looking for a series of books that don't take itself too seriously, it's paranormal, it's weird, there's creatures, there's capers, there's mayhem, there's magic. The Warlock Holmes series by G.S. Denning is seriously, it's fantastic. I zoomed through these books. I read them so fast, and I wished I had just ordered them all in one sitting so I could have kept reading the other ones, but now I gotta wait. I can have patience while I wait for them. I probably wouldn't have got back into it if it wasn't for Occult Detective October, so Warlock Holmes is an occult detective, and it was perfect for this, and I'm really happy I read it because they're awesome. If you check them out, let me know, and let me know what you think of them. If you are a fan of mystery books that are weird and somewhat deranged, next video coming up will be about that, so stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.